Hit
And
it,
we
Steve.
are live. Welcome, Frank. Good to have you back. Wheels is in the
Wheels.
house.
He is. He's back on the back in the saddle. Hey Frank, post a link to your blog. Frank's back
Yeah.
to writing. He's that proves he's back on his game. Get everybody to go over there and read your blog. Get some hits going. Get some action on his new on his return to his blog.
Yes.
Hotter will yearn for the 90s. Oof. Yeah, definitely put a link in the chat there so people can see it. All right, we have done our audio check. We've said hi to Frank.
We have
Nobody has suggested that I do a roll call.
Right.
I guess Al doesn't show up anymore. Maybe Frank should do roll call.
We can see you, Frank.
Well, we can see that you're texting.
Yeah.
All right, what am I going to do? I don't know how to do roll call. Oh, Kurt made it in. I guess I could do it without roll call. What do you think, Steve? I don't know what the procedure. Oh, there.
There we go. Mike comes through.
Good job.
Oh, look at that. There's a pool.
There you go. All right, we have Seamus and Mike and Jill and Lindsay, the daughter, and Ed snuck in around the corner. John, Rose, and Sandy and Steve and Michael and Wheels is back. So glad to see you, Frank. That is long awaited. Oh, and Waylon. Waylon's there too.
Frank's got to get dressed first.
All right. Well, I think it's time to get the show started. What do you think, Steve?
Agreed.
All right. Here we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The very first article isn't there. Where did it go? That's in the wrong week. It's because I moved it. There we go. Now I have it. All right, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, May 21st, 2023, and this is show number 941. Why did that take so long to say? That's weird. I ended up a little bit later.
Maybe you're just slow tonight.
Maybe. Is that all it is? All right. Marty Sobo. Link. All right. Can't make a noise. And yep. There we go. Do you remember when Marty Sobo convinced many of us to buy the Elgato Wave XLR audio interface? Well, he's back with another review. Now, Marty's a longtime friend of the show, and he and Michael Babcock, who is also a longtime friend of the show, have started a podcast called Unmute Presents. It's really terrific. I've listened to a bunch of episodes. It's an Apple-centric podcast taken from an accessibility perspective, as both of these gentlemen are blind. Marty recently recorded a great tech review of a microphone he's enjoying, and he offered it up for the NosillaCast. So let's take a listen. All righty, we're going to drop Marty in here. Give you a little bit of that. That beginning looks harsh. For the NosillaCast. So let's take a listen. Oh, that's one.
Hey all, Marty here. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a brand new microphone that's just come out on the market. This is called a Sennheiser Profile. So,
all right.
Hey, Al.
Yeah.
Can you check your audio? It looks like it might be the intro. Is that peaking?
The intro?
The intro?
Yeah.
Are you peaking? Are you clipping out there?
It's going up a little bit high.
I just don't see much down. It's all towards, I can't really see it well, but it looks all
What do you mean down?
Oh, there we go. Okay. I didn't see dips. I couldn't see any dips but now I see them. Now that you've expanded.
It's really terrific. I've listened to a bunch of episodes. It's an Apple. I think it's fine.
All right.
All right. All right. Well, thanks very much for that, Marty. You can all find Unmute Presents in your podcatcher of choice to hear Marty and Michael, along with guests that talk tech, and they have a call-in show where they talk to people who need help with some accessibility stuff. So it's a really, really fun episode. And I'm very pleased to tell you that I am going to be a guest on Unmute Presents really, really soon. So check it out in your podcatcher of choice. Alrighty. Ba, 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 ba. Actually, I'm glad Lindsay's here. We're going to talk about the Aura frame, the Aura digital photo frame.
Excellent.
Okay. This is my big contribution. Now, where are we going here? I'm working on a video for Don, which is why I called in some help from my friends here. All right. Oh, actually, no, I saw something. Well, remember to change BY to BUY in the previous thing.
BY to BUY?
Yeah, but I can't. It's inconvenient to get back to that thing. But I don't want you to fix it. But just remind me, BY needs to be BUY.
All
right. It was about Marty. According to Wikipedia, digital photo frames were first introduced in the 1990s. These frames allowed you to insert a memory card containing photos you took from your big girl camera. They were a pretty revolutionary idea. Now remember, there wasn't even an iPhone to view photos until late in the 2000s. If you were around at that time, you probably bought one of these digital photo frames and you loved it at first. But if you were like me, you found it mildly entertaining, but it lost its appeal after maybe a month or two. Mostly it was just too hard to fuss around with that memory card. It was even worse if you wanted to give the frame, say, as a gift to someone, because you'd have to physically visit the frame in order to change out the photos. Eventually, the technology advanced to include Wi-Fi, which facilitated easier data transfer. But with the advent of photo sharing sites online and social media photo sharing, the digital photo frame kind of went out of vogue. But I'm going to try to convince you that there's a digital photo frame that might surprise and delight you and your family and friends. The frame is from a company called Aura, that's spelled A-U-R-A, and you can find them at auraframes.com. Now, I first heard about the Aura frame from the Wirecutter, and after reading the review, I thought it might make an ideal present for Steve's mother, Merle. She lives far from our kids, which means she isn't getting to see them often in real life. She loves to see photos of them and of her great-grandchildren. Heck, she even joined Facebook so she can see them. You know she really wants to see these pictures. The specific frame I bought from Merle is the Aura Carver for $149. It has a 10.1-inch 1280 by 800 150 ppi screen, and it works on the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi band. The first thing that stands out about the Aura frame is that there's no subscription fee to go along with that purchase price. Others on the market, like Nixplay, require a subscription to unlock many of the features. On the Aura site, they say, and I'm quoting, "Unlimited storage, no fees. Share 10,000 plus photos and videos worry-free with no storage limit. Easily invite family and friends with the Aura app. No memory cards, no subscription fees." Okay, that has me starting to really like this. So what's really so cool about this photo frame that would make you want to go back to this technology? Because I just finished telling you why digital okay, I ad-libbed fees. Okay. Okay, I just finished telling you why digital photo frames went out of vogue as a category. So what's so cool about the Aura frame and, what problem does it solve? It's hard to explain with a technical explanation, so instead, I'd like to tell you about how I set up the frame for Merle and how I fell in love with it myself. I bought the Aura frame from Merle about a month before Christmas because I wanted to be sure to understand how it worked on my own network before taking it to her house to set it up at Christmas. Aura know that people want to send their frames as gifts, so the setup immediately asks if it's for you or as a gift. The Aura frame was a delight to get on my network, and adding photos could not be easier. Now, the easiest way to add photos and up to 30-second videos is from their iOS or Android app. But you can also send photos through their web interface, or you can even email photos directly to the frame. I put the Aura frame on the dresser in our bedroom, and I started adding photos to it. I was able to easily invite Steve and my kids via an email invite so they too could add photos to Merle's frame. The kids jumped right on it because they love Merle as much as we do, and I was delighted to see new photos coming in of my darling children and grandchildren. Now, this is the key: the surprise of a new photo, or the reminded giggle from a silly look, or the pulling at my heartstrings from a quiet moment captured in a photo. This is why modern digital photo frames are magical. Every time I walked by the Aura frame, there was some new magic waiting for me. Now, the heartfelt love of my children and grandchildren had grafted onto the frame itself. It made me love the Aura frame because I loved what it was showing me. There was only one problem with it: I had to give it away. It was like fostering a puppy and then having to give it away. Merle loves her Aura frame as much as I did, but I was really sad until Steve bought me my very own Aura frame for my birthday, and now I'm happy again. All right, enough of this touchy-feely stuff. Let's talk about features. The iOS app is really good on both iPhone and iPad. There's an Android app, but of course I haven't tested that. At launch on the iOS app, you can see what photos have been added recently and by whom, and you can add a heart or a comment as well. Below that, you have a big yellow Add Photos button, which launches the Photos app on your device. Click around in the images. I'm going to change the way I say that. Below that, you have a big yellow Add Photos button, which launches a Photos picker that's looking into the Photos app on your device. Click around on the images you want to add, and you're done. That's it. So here's a really nifty feature. If Kyle sends a photo to Merle's frame, since I have the frame in my app as well, I not only get a notification, but I also have the ability to download the image to my photos library from the Aura app. From there, I can push it up to my frame if he didn't already do it. I kind of get the best of both worlds. The photo randomly shows up to delight me, and I get it in my photos library. Since live photos are supported, I get the live photo in the download to my library as well. When I first set up Merle's frame in our bedroom, I was worried the bright frame might keep us awake. But the instant you shut off the lights in the room, the Aura frame puts itself to sleep. When light hits it in the morning, it wakes back up. They have thought of everything. If you have someone in your life who doesn't want to use an app, you get a unique email address they can use to send photos to your Aura frame. It's one of those security by obscurity things. Aura recommend not using this for large batches of photos, but they really encourage you to push as many at a time as you can via the app. It's nice for a one-off photo here and there to use the email, though. Now, we also have a lot of things in our physical life, such as paintings, old photos, and drawings that might be really cool to see in the Aura frame. I'm not sure how this works on Android, but on iOS, when you tap to add images and the photo picker pops up, it also has a little scanner button in the upper right. If you click this, it invokes the scanner functionality built into iOS. Point your phone's camera at your child's darling drawing of the cat with 5 legs, and the scanner app will find the edge of the paper and auto-scan the drawing. When you save, it saves to your camera roll and then offers to let you assign a date to the image. You can choose today's date, but it might be handy if the drawing was maybe done a long time ago to put in the original date. Now, the ability to bring in artwork makes me wonder whether this would be a cool display device, say for artists to show off their work. And I thought it was only for photos of my grandchildren. There's a I don't understand my own visuals. Look how good that picture looks with the, that's Pop Frame doing its work. There's a 2 to 3 inch long touch bar on the top of the Aura frame. Swiping and tapping on the touch bar allows you to do things like swipe back to an image you want to see again, or a single tap will show you when the image was captured and where and who posted the image to your frame. A single tap shows you the date and location of the image if that date is available, and a long tap from there brings up a replay option for videos and live photos. The first time video content is played, it is silent, which is what you want. But if you ask for a replay, it will play the audio as well. Now, that only works on videos, not on live photos. Oh, dang it. I'm reading ahead. Don't cheat. I originally thought that live photos would also play their sound, but I couldn't get that to work. I thought my frame might be faulty, so I shot off a request for help from customer support. In about 4 hours, I got an email back from the lovely Meredith who explained that it's just the videos that play audio on Aura frames. I had two other I had two other Meredith. I had two other minor issues with the frame, which Meredith also worked on. Now, I'm not wild about the touch bar. It's probably my least favorite thing about it, but I don't find the urge to interact with the frame all that often. I mostly just like watching the photos go by in the slideshow and using the app to add more. In poking around in the online user manual, I discovered that you can designate entire albums in Apple Photos to be uploaded to the Aura frame. These can be regular albums or shared albums, and any new photos added to the album get automatically uploaded to the frame you've designated. Since our kids now have 2 frames to worry about, it might make their lives easier if I just create a shared album that automatically goes to both Merle and my frames. On the other hand, since they wouldn't be invoking the Aura app, I wouldn't get notifications that a photo had been added, and I wouldn't know who added the photo. I'm just not going to tell them about this feature. Now, I want to briefly outline a few of the more interesting settings available for the Aura frame. As a frame plays a slideshow, in settings, you can change the timing of the slide from as low as 15 seconds to as long as 24 hours. That seems a little bit long. The images can be displayed in boring chronological order or in a random shuffle. If you enable autoplay videos, both videos and live photos will animate. Now, some people really dislike live photos. Dorothy calls them the jiggly ones, and she doesn't like it. You can disable this feature if you like in settings. Photo Match is a feature that you can turn on that puts portrait images side by side instead of leaving you with black bars on either side with just one portrait. You're ad-libbing again. Instead of leaving you with black bars on either side with just one portrait. What? Side by side. Photo Match. I don't know what kind of bar it is. Photo Match is a feature that puts portrait images side by side, 2 of them, instead of just having one image and leaving you with black bars on either side. The setting says it also creates moments of delight by pairing related photos such as the same person or event. All I know is it keeps pairing the darling Kennedy and lovely and endearing poses in a dance outfit next to the goofball Sienna doing something ridiculous like pulling up her shirt and pushing her belly out. I love the Photo Match feature. The frame's language can be changed from English to German or French. I'm not entirely sure what changing the language means, and I'm afraid to test it. It might just change the language in the app, or it might change the words on the screen like replay and volume to another language. It's sad to be an ugly American who only speaks one language in spite of 4 years of high school French. Well, the bottom line is that the Aura frame has absolutely won my heart. I know the kids find the interface convenient and efficient to use, otherwise they wouldn't be so great about adding so many new photos all the time. At $150, it's not inexpensive, but the picture quality is really great. It's bright when you need it to be, it turns itself off at night, and there's no subscription fee. Send some joy to someone or to yourself with the Aura frame from auraframes.com, or you can buy it on Amazon.
The term is cornball.
Cornball? Did I say goofball?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Did Mr. Ed notice his picture was on screen there?
I don't know. I haven't heard from Ed. Ed, are you with us? He may be doing a project on the side as he's listening.
Yeah, we went to a museum where they had a capsule from the Apollo mission. Scroll back there, Ed. You're famous. All right. Oh, I got to fix that typo. What was it? It was BY to BY. Here. There it is. BUY.
Let me scroll back to it. It's right.
Got it.
Here
yeah, I got it. Oh, you're scrolling. Oh, you're scrolling so you can see it on screen.
Right.
Not my best side.
Your face?
Right. Let's see.
In the wood shop. Good man. working
I
away.
wonder whether Bart introduces himself here. It sounds funny, I'm sure, that I always say Bart's full name, but I always think about the fact that there's somebody who's listening for the first time.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. Well, do you say Allison Sheridan in your intro?
I sure do.
There you go.
Okay, so let me forget to make sure I put both of these in here. Let's see what he says.
Folks, Bart here with a review.
He says his name. Such a fun last name to say. Keep it up. I'll let you guys listen to a little bit of this.
Hi folks, Bart here with a review. So one of the little behind the scenes things you guys probably don't know is that on the weeks when there isn't a lot of security news, myself and Alison still have an hour in our calendar, so we tend to just geek out for a while, and which is fun. And one of the things we geeked out about last time we recorded was Apple Watch bands, and I mentioned falling completely in love with an Apple Watch band, and Alison basically said, well, the audience love hearing about Apple Watch bands. Why don't you do a review? So here I am. So the band in question is called the Tefeka Fortitude Series Ultra Wide Hook and Loop Band. So the company is Tefeka, and Ultra Wide is a series of bands they have, which are basically the full width of the little lug that connects the Apple Watch band to the Apple Watch. So most of them, most times when you get an Apple Watch, they taper in from the lug into the band itself. Well, these are just completely flush. And so with a Series 7 Apple Watch, the lug is about the same width as the watch itself. So for me, the whole thing is completely flush. It's actually it's a rugged look, but I find that really quite stylish in that non-formal sort of way. And they have a little leather patch on them with an American flag. It can be just a Tefeka branding. It can be different things. I did not go with the American flag one. I went with the plain one that just says Tefeka Fortitude, I think. And hook and loop, of course, is code word for not Velcro really. So that means it's infinitely adjustable. Basically, it has, you clip one lug on, the other lug is sort of loose floating in the middle of the band. And hard to describe. Basically, it's just a Velcro loop. I'm over explaining it. It's just a Velcro loop, and so it adjusts infinitely to any width of arm, which is absolutely perfect for if you're doing sport or something and you don't want the darn thing to move. I really hate sports bands that have predefined holes. I want them to be infinitely adjustable. But so it looks good. It's infinitely adjustable, which are two big things for me. Material. I don't know what they made this stuff of. I don't know what goes in here. It is the softest, nicest feeling band I have ever had against my arm. And it's not light, but it doesn't feel heavy. It's just really pleasing. It's very, very flexible. I have a slightly similar full width band that's a surf band from Urban Armour, and it just feels hard. It feels uncomfortable against your skin, and I do wear it in the rain because it is a surf band, so it's designed for even salty water. So it has been for many years my main in the rain band, but it always felt harsh and horrible.
All right, I think I'm going to cut us off here because I have to do some faffing about, and I will explain in a moment why. Let's see.
And what caught my eye was a series I have called the. So the first of the two bonus extras is the Tefeka Hook Buckle Elastic Band. And I ended up buying two more. So a bonus little extra review here. So it was coming up to St. Patrick's Day when I was doing my shopping on their site, and I wanted something in green. And what of the two bonus extras is the Tefeka Hook Buckle Elastic Band, which I bought in green.
Okay, he does.
And my shopping on their site, and I wanted something in green.
Okay, so I think I want to cut from here to here.
Why is that?
I'll explain in a moment.
So a bonus little extra review here. Okay, so the first of the two bonus extras is the Tefeka Hook.
There we go. So this is the problem that I'll be describing, Steve. Remember, we talked about what went wrong?
Right.
Okay. Oh, good grief. How much longer did he go? This can be long. Oh, he added 3.5 minutes. Yeah, this is a lot longer than it was the first time. That's okay. For what it is, it's great. Yeah, the American flag one does look good. He did not get the one with the American flag, he said. Let's see.
A whopping $12.49. Anyway, all the links are in the show notes, and hopefully some of you are intrigued and get yourself some of these bands.
Okay. That's not the band that you just saw the picture of. Is not the $12 band. That one's the $26 band. The other bands, he talks about 2 other bands in there, and they are in the show notes. All right. Does he get a discount? Well, I should get some discounts on the stuff I make you guys buy. That's for sure. All right. I need to do. Yeah. No. Gotta go here first. I should be talking here. Maybe you should buy Bart the American flag one. I like it. Yeah, you'd spend $300 shipping it to him, but let's see. Should I?
$9. Anyway, all the links are in the show notes, and hopefully some of you are intrigued and get yourself some of these bands.
Well, the live audience that's watching and listening to the show, and so bad at ad-libbing.
And get yourself some of these bands.
Well, I think I was right. The live audience is definitely excited about these watch bands, Bart. Everybody's talking about which ones they would get. And I think Kevin's decided that he should probably buy you the one with the American flag. I said, good luck with that. All right. Whoops. Don't. That was supposed to be Command Z. There we go. All right. So now I need to move my chapter mark to there. Okay. Now I want not this one. This one. Gotta put these so I can see them. There. Okay. Okay. Well, the segment that you just heard from Bart almost didn't make it to the show. We still don't know what happened, but by the time that audio recording arrived on my end from Bart, the file was broken. So let me give you a little background first. Bart has Dropbox installed on his iMac, but not on his new Mac Studio. So when he needs to put a file in Dropbox, he either copies it to his iMac's Dropbox folder, or he just saves directly to that folder on the iMac. He recorded the segment using the very reliable software Amadeus Pro, and he saved out an uncompressed AIFF file to his iMac to the Dropbox folder that he and I share. I checked out the recording using my new MacBook Air, where I haven't yet set up all of my tools. I double-clicked on the uncompressed AIFF file, and it opened in the Music app, and I heard his dulcet tones. It opened in Music because I hadn't yet done the trick on this new Mac to tell macOS which app I wanted to use to open audio files. I definitely don't want audio files opening in Music because it makes a copy in your music library. Since I create several gigabytes of audio files each week, the last thing I want is copies of those files on my disk. I selected Bart's AIFF file. I used Command-I to get info, and I changed the open with to QuickTime, and I told it to change all files of this type to open in QuickTime. Then I double-clicked on the file again, and to my horror, I saw a message that the file could not be opened by QuickTime. The file was corrupted. I tried to open it in Hindenburg, but it reported the same problem. I opened it again in Music, and I was still able to play it there. I listened to the whole thing in Music, only to find that the recording stopped abruptly about 5 minutes in, even though Music said the file was 7 minutes long. This is when I knew we were in real trouble. Bart and I started texting, and of course, he was very sad, having gone to all the work of making that recording. And, he does it kind of extemporaneously, and it was a great recording. He was on his game, so he was very sad that this was broken. Since he'd saved directly to the folder on his iMac that syncs to Dropbox, he had no original Amadeus file nor a copy of the original export on his Mac. He asked me whether I could recover the first 5 minutes so he would only have to re-record the last couple of minutes. I tried exporting from Music, but the exported file wouldn't open in any other app either. I noodled the problem, and I came upon the obvious solution. I used Rogue Amoeba's Audio Hijack to listen to the playback of the file from Music and save it to a perfect digital copy. This sounds like a complex operation, but it's so trivially easy to do this with Audio Hijack. I opened Audio Hijack and I created a blank session. I dragged in an application block as a source, and I set the application to be music. I dragged in a recorder block as an output, and I set it to record a lossless M4A file. I also dragged in an output block, and I set it to my speakers. That way I would be able to hear during playback, so I'd know when it was done. This is a perfect example of why the software is named Audio Hijack. I used it to hijack the audio coming out of the Music app. I ran the Audio Hijack session, hit play on Music, and when I was done listening, when I heard Bart stop talking, I stopped the session, which saved a copy of the first 5 minutes. The good news is this hijacked version plays in all apps as expected. I love Audio Hijack and I constantly find new uses for it. While this was a clever fix, turns out there was an even better solution from Rogue Amoeba. Again, since this is a new Mac and I've only been installing apps as I need them, I hadn't yet downloaded Rogue. Again, since this is a new Mac and I've only been installing apps as I need them, I hadn't yet downloaded Rogue Amoeba's Fission lossless editor. I don't talk about Fission too much because it's only a single track editor. I really want Rogue Amoeba to make a multi-track editor, and then I would never use anybody else's tools. Anyway, I still use Fission often, mostly to view the waveforms of test recordings to make sure everyone on a call is close to the same level. And if I have a little bitty thing I need to do, just cut a little bit of audio out, I'll use Fission to do that. When I realized I hadn't yet installed Fission on my new MacBook Air, I quickly rectified that situation. Situation. When I realized yet installed Fission on my new MacBook Air, I quickly water. You like Fission wheels? Wish I knew what else I could do with it. When I realized I hadn't yet installed Fission on my new MacBook Air, I quickly rectified that situation. Now here's the great part. It was able to open and play that original corrupted file. Now, it was still truncated to only 5 minutes out of 7, of course, but I was able to ask Fission to export to a new file, and it successfully created a working copy that would open in QuickTime and other apps. So even though the file was still corrupted, it was able to create a copy that would work, unlike the Music app. Turns out I didn't actually need to hijack the file to get a good working file if I used Fission. Now, while Bart and I were both happy that Rogue Amoeba saved the day, or at least saved 5/7 of the day, we still don't know how the file got truncated. Now, here's the worst part. Bart did a second recording for us, and something almost weirder happened to that recording. This is something that's going to play next week. Let's see. Now, while Bart and I were both happy that Rogue Amoeba saved the day, or at least 5/7 of the day, we still don't know how the file got truncated. Bart did a second recording that I'm going to be playing next week, and something almost weirder happened to that recording. There's a long stretch in the middle of the recording that is dead silence. We're really baffled on how this happened, and if we can't figure it out, we won't know how to make it never happen again in the future. If we had the original source file from Amadeus, we could maybe find out whether the missing pieces were never recorded, but that seems highly unlikely. Bart wondered whether Samba, also known as SMB, the way the iMac is communicated with from his Mac Studio, whether maybe SMB could have caused the corruption. I think that's equally unlikely because I can't see how a file corruption at the disk write level could precisely slice out a chunk of the audio, leaving the audio on either side intact. But you know what? What do I know? If you have any ideas on how both of these failures could have happened, we are all ears. What do you guys think?
Let me ask, does Bart not often record in this manner and give you audio files? Was this unique?
So I don't know what he uses to record his podcast. It's possible he records directly into Amadeus for his podcast, for his shows, but I don't really Gremlins. I don't know. He doesn't do a lot of individual recordings like this.
So this is somewhat unique.
Yeah.
This is not
Are you allowed to say somewhat unique? You mean somewhat unusual?
People have used qualifiers on unique a lot. I think that's
and they're wrong
in the English language. Very unique. I hear
Sandy,
that a lot.
Are you going to allow that? Sandy's going to say, Allison, the language is always evolving. I don't know. I asked him about it. I said, could you have had like your mic just got disconnected for a little while in the middle of like on the second one? And he said he watches the waveform while he's recording. He can see it moving in Amadeus. So he says, I can't believe it would have, if it stopped, I would have just not noticed that. So that doesn't seem right. Oh, Sandy says, absolutely not. Somewhat unique is an oxymoron. That's a good point.
But
it's not like very unique. But it seems like something else is going on because it sliced the middle out of one and the end off of another.
This sounds like a file transfer issue, like not a recording issue.
Right, but how could...
So are music files recorded or stored in blocks? I know that compressed files have blocks over which, compression is applied often, at least with video files. Could a block have been chopped out during a compression scheme? These are AIFF or?
The files he sent me were AIFFs.
So those aren't compressed.
Right.
But
definitely.
So nowhere do you deal with a compressed file here, MP3 or?
No. I don't know. Kevin just made an announcement. Sarah got engaged this week. Wow. And she just graduated with high honors.
Congratulations, Kevin. That's a big event in the household.
Ed asked whether Bart can play it back. Okay, he doesn't have it because he put it in Dropbox and I took it out. So he didn't keep a copy of it, which is part of it. If we had another copy of it to compare to, that would be interesting. Oh, that was Emily graduating last week. Sorry. I got that wrong. Yeah. So
do they
if
have
anybody has
Kevin?
Any ideas? We're sort of multiplexing these two stories, diagnose our corrupted audio problem. We need to figure this out because this is bad.
Yeah.
He did re-record the second recording and it worked.
Oh, without any gaps or truncations? Good.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to do a support the show. I'm curious what you guys think about this particular thing. I have never done this before, and I've always thought it would be an interesting way to beg for money. Okay. By the way, Sandy's granddaughter, I think, was also graduated with high honors with some of those cum laude words that you guys are always using. Grandson.
She added that to the chat.
Congratulations. Oh, she did. Oh, good, good. Okay. Saved a local non-cloud storage, then transferred to Dropbox. Yeah, that's a much better idea. I do know that, what is it called? ScreenFlow from Telestream. Telestream says specifically, do not save to Dropbox. Save it locally and move it.
Yeah, that may be a clue. By the way, Lindsay's asking if you've done an article on paprika yet. I think she may be asking if she should do one.
I'd love a review by Lindsay. That would be fun.
I bet Lindsay could do a great paprika review. Oh, she wants to.
Really? Oh,
that'd be cool.
Let's see, if I did, it was a very long time ago.
Yeah, probably before Paprika 3.
2016. Here's the link. You can see whether you have something new. I need all your fancy equipment. Yeah, well, you could record it when I'm down there sometime. Check and see what you it's really old. Look at what it looks like. 7 years ago? Plus you actually cook. So you'd probably talk about the parts I don't do, like using it to do meal planning and stuff.
That might be Paprika 2.
Okay, each chunk is identified by a chunk ID, broadly referred to as 4cc. Ah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's probably more advanced now than it used to be, Lindsay. Okay, I'm going to record this piece here. That would be so cool. So if you wrote it up beforehand, and then when I come down on June 10th, you could do it. All right. Here we go. Panhandling now. I would love if you did that. That would be so cool. When Bart and I record Programming by Stealth together, or I interview someone for Chit Chat Across the Pond Light, we use Zoom to have the conversation. I'm sure that's not a big surprise because pretty much everybody uses Zoom. But what you may not know is that for the conversation to last more than 40 minutes, you have to have a paid Zoom account. I just got my Zoom bill and it was $157.02. That means if 3 people would sign up for Patreon for $1 a week, they would almost cover the $157.02. It would be $156. I could cover the $2. Now, if you'd rather get 13 people together to play $1 a month instead of, damn it, not play, pay. Now, if you'd rather get 13 people together and each pay $1 a month instead of $1 a week instead, that would work too. That would also be $156. All you need to do is go to podfeet.com/Patreon and pledge your support to help keep the show going for more than 40 minutes. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. The one thing I always wonder whether it's clear is that you pay for the NosillaCast, but you get the, it doesn't matter in this one. I said per week and per month, so that's good. All right. Okay, it is time for Jill from the North Woods.
Jill is in the house and about to come up.
Okay, so I've got, this is the one. This is such an interesting story. I really like this, what she did here. So it's going to be about AI. It'll be the first time we've actually talked about AI to any length on this show. And you like my featured image there? Did
you make that one up?
It is from the Noun Project, but those are transparent PNGs, and I used RetroBatch Pro to make it not transparent so it'll show up nicely on screen and make it the right aspect ratio. Ha! Interesting, or me being a weasel? No, it's interesting. All right, let's see. Is go to podfeet.com/Patreon and pledge your support to help keep the show going.
Hello, this is Jill from the North Woods. I realized a while ago I really dislike writing. And, well, maybe dislike is a harsh term, but I'm certainly not good at it. I can get things done. Obviously, the work world needs me to be a good writer. I took a few classes too through the university extension, and that helped quite a bit. But still, it takes a long time for me to write, and I don't enjoy the process at all. Certainly more of a talker, or at least all my teachers told me so. When I started to hear about AI and how it helps people do all sorts of different tasks, really interested in it. But I'm also not really interested in it writing things for me. I see all sorts of people say that it writes their papers for them, it writes their podcasts for them, it writes their blog articles for them. Not interested in that. I want my creative content to be mine. I don't want it to be some AI's business. I also think that podcast listeners don't want to listen to AI composed podcasts. It's dull. It has no personality to it. That is why people turn into podcasts in the first place. I did want to learn the technology. I believe in keeping up with technology. And so I started with a few minor tasks. I had it write some biographies of Star Trek captains like Janeway. I didn't know where she came from, so I had ChatGPT go find out for me and write a little biography of her. That was cool, and that did a lot of work. I also asked it to do some listings, like what are the leaders in Star Wars. Maybe it was going to come up with a few people I hadn't considered for an episode that I was doing. Then came a few months ago, I had to pare down an important document. Too much text to it, and I really needed it to be 1, maybe 1.5 pages. I was just struggling to consolidate my thoughts about it. And I asked it to shorten this document. And sure enough, it did a really great job. I had to rewrite parts of it, and some of it was not quite exactly what I wanted, but it was able to take that analytical look at this document and see where there was overlap. It did a great job. I think it would have taken me hours and hours of just diving into this document, hoping that I could figure something out, but instead it saw through it all. Then came time for the biography I needed for MacStock. I am going to be speaking there this year, and I have a biography, but it's for when I do corporate presentations at work conferences. Boy, is it boring. So I thought, here's an interesting task. I asked ChatGPT to rewrite it, but make it funny. You know what? It did such a great job. I ran it through twice and then took the best parts out of both renditions. Just to give you a little flavor, the full transcripts will be in the blog article. Quote, Jill's not all work and no play. Oh no, she's got a whole other side to her. She's got not 1, not 2, but 3 podcasts. Start with Small Steps and Small Steps with God are already up and running. And she's got a 3rd one in the works about seeing nature in the world around you. She's like the Oprah of the podcast world, except instead of giving away cars, she's giving away tips for better life. The whole piece was funny. It made me laugh. It made Allison laugh, made my friends laugh. And now it's just my favorite bio. I'm going to use it every place I can. So that was a lot of fun. I even tried to use it to text my best friend. She knows I can't write very well, and when I do, I tend to be very short. I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to follow up with you regarding our plans to go to Trader Joe's. I apologize if I missed the time we had previously discussed, but I was wondering if you could let me know what time we will be heading over there. I am looking forward to our trip, and am excited to see what goodies we will find at the store. Thank you in advance for getting back to me with the time. So I waited a while, and she didn't even answer me. She says, I don't talk to robots. So she even knew it wasn't me, but still very good. Maybe not for every use. But then came the real problem I was trying to solve. I want to have a podcast empire. And in order to do that, I have to make everything I do more efficient. When I started podcasting, I had full blog articles. Allison really impressed on me how important it is to have the transcripts, the blog articles, people taking information in different ways. And some people with disabilities can't take in information in every way. So what can I do? I started out with my podcast, writing the blog articles, doing the whole part of it. But the problem with it is that it took me hours. It was taking me longer to write the blog articles than it was to do the podcast. I didn't enjoy it. And I also have a job. I need to streamline this process so I can get more done during my free time. It struck me, what if I could run my transcripts through AI and do the show notes for me? Like I said, I started out with full-blown articles about it. Then I went to highlights and summaries, and then eventually it went to 1 or 2 sentences that explained what the podcast is. I mean, it's not very exciting, and I wasn't doing a good job with it. So I started using the app for Mac, Whisper, to transcribe my older podcast. It does such a great job. But then when it comes to the AI, which one am I going to use? There's a couple of different options out there. Funny how first there was ChatGPT and suddenly it's just exploding in AIs. So I wanted to find something that was useful, valuable, accurate. So I started looking at the different products out there. Of course, ChatGPT was my first thought. I ran a few summaries through it, and it did a great job. It really summarized the podcast well. It made interesting sentences. But then I noticed it was starting to make things up, things I never said. The one podcast I had a trouble with the most was the one about the bickering leaders of Star Wars. It had content about the different leaders and how they didn't like each other and that they fought each other. It even talked about some of the bad leaders, the evil leaders inside of Star Wars.
All right, I'm cutting you off. You don't get to listen to Jill for free anymore. You got to listen to the whole show now to get the rest of Jill's wonderful work. All right. Getting close to needing chapter mark, Steve. Or chapter count.
Before we leave Jill's, I noticed the link, at least one link is not active under Notion AI, the first line.
Under
we
Notion
can fix
AI.
it later. Notion AI is one of the major sections.
It says I tried Notion AI inside the Notion app.
Yeah, that's where those links aren't active. They're just whatever the.
Oh, that's weird. It opened my Notion app. Huh?
They're not hot links. It's just
they are
not here. Not the way I'm looking at them.
Okay, let me see your screen. Are you showing? Oh, you're not showing that on your screen, are you?
No.
Make a note on that, Steve, so we can look at it. That's odd. It actually opened Notion for me. So it is a hot link, but if you don't have Notion installed, I guess it doesn't do anything. It's not supposed to.
But I mean, it's not even highlighted in a way that
It is when I'm looking at it. Is what I'm trying to tell you. Yes, and it works. It opens up Notion, but that's not what it was supposed to.
What browser are you using?
Not using browser. I'm looking at the show notes in Mars Edit.
Oh,
but we can work at this. We can work on this offline, right?
Got it.
Okay, but don't let me forget before we go, or before I publish. But it won't make a big difference on that. All right.
Website, or you can email me at jill@startwithsmallsteps.com. Let me know what you think, or if you've tried other things. I'm always interested in what people are doing with AI and how they're finding creative ways to make their lives better.
Well, thanks so much for that, Jill. I thought that was really, really fascinating. Not just the research that you did to figure out which one was the best one, but just the idea that you're using it to augment what you do really well with the things that maybe you struggle with and are a little bit harder for you. So I think that's just a perfect use of the tool. I thought it was fantastic. And like the live audience has been saying, you have such a calm, wonderful voice, but it's playful and we all love listening to you. So really appreciate you doing that recording for us. But that is going to wind us up for this week. Did you know you can email me at allison@podfeed.com and you can send emails telling me how much you like listening to Jill more than listening to me. Anyway, don't send me that. I don't want to hear that. If you have a question or a suggestion, just send it on over to allison@podfeed.com. You can follow me on Mastodon at podfeed at chaos.social. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. If you want to join in the conversation, you can join our Slack community at podfeed.com/Slack, where you can talk to me and all of the other lovely Nosilla castaways. You can support the show by going to podfeed.com/Patreon and helping me pay for my Zoom account, or with a one-time donation at podfeed.com/PayPal. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Uh-oh. What is everybody saying no about? The restaurant at the end of the universe.
Looks like an automated restaurant.
Oh, I saw a robot delivery at a California pizza kitchen. There were waiters would stick all the food into the little robot, and the robot went and delivered it to the tables.
Huh.
I forgot to tell you that.
So
your parents have it too.
When it came to the table, did you the customer pull it off something, or does it actually put it on the table?
It went off and around the corner, so I couldn't see how they actually interacted with it, but I would presume so.
How was it? Table height?
I don't know. No, taller than that.
Okay. So
Like it had
could
shelves.
reach the
You didn't
table.
have to dig down on your knees to reach down to get to the food.
Mhm.
But we might get to see it when we're up visiting your parents in a couple of weeks because they have them there at their lunch place or at their food place. So
Oh,
I would like to see that running.
yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to delete that message, Kurt. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Oh, it's time for chapter mark count.
Yes, I have
Okay.
6.
Marty, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Good.
I have 6 as well.
Half dozen. Let's call it a half dozen.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I think if we let's see. Everything looks clean. I think we are ready to go to print. Ready to export. Hey, I managed to drag it out to 55 minutes when I only talked for like 10.
Not bad. And it's 5:56.
I know, pretty good. No problem, Kurt.
And no gaps?
No, I don't see any. It's a good
Your
sign.
process is different, right?
Yeah, I save a lot of copies. Like when Bart and I record together, I have a stereo recording created by Audio Hijack that has me on one side, him on the other. Then he records him on one side, me on the other, and that goes into Dropbox. Then I pull that out. I save both of those AIFF files that have both of us on there. So now I have 2 copies of it. Then I bring it into Hindenburg, and I delete the opposite person from each track. So I have his original and my original in there. And then I save Hindenburg. So that is now the 3rd copy of the recording. And then when I'm finished with, when I produce the show, I save it out. I export it as an M4A file. That is a 4th copy of the file. Then I have Auphonic created the MP3 file. That is a 5th file, which I download, which then gets uploaded to the internet, which is a 6th copy of the file. 6 copies. I never throw any of them away. I save them all. So yeah, belt suspenders, a rope, some zip ties. I got it all.
And braces.
Yeah. I said suspenders, aren't those braces?
Yeah, but I just had to throw in another word that meant the same thing.
That's true. Yeah, I guess they do all mean the same thing, right? So yeah, and I still manage to make mistakes sometimes. So all right, it is 5:57. It's time to let the show go, let the audience go. Thank you. Oh, Pilot Pete's here.
Oh,
Pete.
Again. Hey, Pete.
You missed it. I sent you a text message. Somebody posted something in here. Grumpy wrote, let me see if I've still got it.
He saw that.
What's that? He did see it?
He says he's been here a bit and he saw it.
Oh, he did see it. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty fun. All righty. Well, that was Grumpy. This is the famous Pilot Pete. Someone from Oz was here? Oh, yeah. Rose from Australia is always here.
Yeah.
She's she's still here. She's one of the very first
NosillaCastaways. In fact,
yeah,
I think she coined the term NosillaCastaway.
She did.
Yeah.
I think she coined the phrase the pod bomb, or the name the pod bomb as well. Yep. She's an OG, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. All right. But it is 5:58 now. I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hanging up.